Across the Middle East, a unique and often unseen conflict plays out in the skies. It is not a declared war of ground invasions and massive troop movements, but rather a series of calculated strikes and counterstrikes. This is the realm of the air war, where nations engage in targeted military action, yet strive to avoid an all-out confrontation. The goal is to alter an adversary's behavior without triggering an uncontrollable cascade of violence. Understanding this precarious balance requires a deep dive. It means examining how military strategy and international law interact and cooperate. At the heart of this complex dance is international law, particularly the rules governing the use of force. The United Nations Charter provides a foundational framework, emphasizing that states should refrain from the threat or use of force against another's territorial integrity or political independence. Exceptions exist, primarily for self-defense or when the United Nations Security Council authorizes action. However, in the gray zones of covert operations and limited strikes, these legal lines often blur. Nations are forced to navigate a delicate path. They must carefully craft their actions to remain within plausible interpretations of legality, or at least to justify them convincingly on the global stage. Military strategy, especially modern deterrence theory, provides the playbook for these high-stakes interactions. Deterrence is essentially the art of discouraging an adversary from taking an action by posing a credible threat of unacceptable consequences. It is not about winning a fight, it is about preventing one. States employ various forms from direct deterrence protecting their own territory to extended deterrence, where a powerful nation commits to defending its allies, thereby casting a wider strategic shadow. The effectiveness hinges on a nation's perceived capability to inflict costs and its resolve to follow through. Now consider the dynamic between Israel and Iran. This relationship is characterized by profound geopolitical rivalry and mutual suspicion, manifesting in a long-running shadow war. Iran supports various non-state actors in the region, which Israel views as existential threats positioned on its borders. Iran, in turn, perceives Israeli actions, particularly its alleged strikes within Syrian territory or against Iranian interests, as direct violations of its sovereignty or as attempts to undermine its regional influence. This continuous tension creates a fertile ground for strategic maneuver and careful application of force. Israel, located in a volatile neighborhood, heavily invests in sophisticated missile defense systems. The Iron Dome intercepts short-range rockets, protecting civilian areas from attacks. The David Sling system addresses medium-range threats, and the Arrow system tackles long-range ballistic missiles, including potential intercontinental threats. These layers of defense are not just shields, they are critical components of Israel's deterrence posture. They aim to deny adversaries the benefits of attack and thus reduce the incentive to strike. Their very existence alters the strategic calculus of potential aggressors. On the other side, Iran has steadily developed its own impressive array of ballistic missiles and air defense systems. Weapons like the Bavar 373 and Armin air defense systems are designed to protect critical infrastructure and strategic sites. Iran's long-range missile capabilities are a key element of its own deterrence strategy, presenting a credible threat of retaliation. This ongoing development of both offensive and defensive missile capabilities on both sides creates a dynamic equilibrium, where each advance by one actor necessitates a counterresponse from the other, fueling a continuous arms race. This creates a complex technological chess match. Attackers develop countermeasures like decoys, which mimic real warheads to confuse missile defense systems, or use low-emissivity coatings and cooled shrouds to reduce their infrared signature. Hypersonic missiles, with their unpredictable, dynamic trajectories, present a significant challenge to existing defense systems, as their speed and maneuverability make them incredibly difficult to track and intercept. This constant innovation means military doctrine must adapt at lightning speed, as today's cutting-edge defense can become tomorrow's obsolete technology. Beneath the conventional missile exchanges lies the unsettling shadow of nuclear weapons. While Iran denies pursuing nuclear arms, its enrichment activities raise international concerns about proliferation. Israel, though officially undeclared, is widely believed to possess a nuclear arsenal. This creates a state of latent nuclear deterrence, where the potential for nuclearization by one side or the perceived possession by the other profoundly influences the escalation ladder. It is a high-stakes poker game, where the ultimate threat looms unspoken, shaping every move and countermove. In this environment, limited airstrikes serve as a form of coercive diplomacy. They are not designed to conquer territory, but to send clear signals, demonstrate resolve, and impose costs on an adversary, pushing them to alter specific behaviors. These actions operate in the gray area between peace and full-scale war, allowing nations to exert pressure without crossing a definitive red line. The intention is to de-escalate by signaling strength, rather than to invite wider conflict. Each strike is a message, carefully calibrated to avoid misinterpretation. The United States plays a central role in this regional dynamic, particularly through its military alliances and strategic partnerships. The United States' robust military aid and missile defense cooperation with Israel bolster its allies' defensive capabilities, effectively providing an extended deterrence umbrella. The United States' presence and policy statements are integral to the broader strategic calculations. They aim to stabilize the region, while also advancing its own foreign policy objectives. These include preventing the proliferation of advanced weaponry and de-escalating potential flashpoints. However, the United States also balances this with complex relations across the wider Middle East. Despite sophisticated military strategies and international legal frameworks, true enforcement remains a persistent challenge. There is no global police force to compel states to adhere to norms, and interpretations of self-defense or proportionality often differ drastically between warring parties. Powerful states can impose consequences through economic sanctions or diplomatic isolation, but the lack of a universally accepted, enforceable authority means nations frequently act based on their perceived national interests, sometimes pushing the boundaries of international law. This inherent weakness in the global system allows conflicts to simmer without clear resolution. The ongoing air war between Israel and Iran exemplifies the delicate tightrope walk in modern international relations. It is a constant negotiation between military capability and legal constraint, a battle of wills played out with precision strikes and advanced defense systems. The objective is to control escalation, deter aggression, and shape an adversary's actions, all while navigating a complex web of international norms and geopolitical interests. This intricate interplay prevents outright war, but keeps the region in a perpetual state of heightened tension.